Barbados-born chef Renee Blackman continues to make strides in her career overseas. The 38-year-old was recently part of a Netflix show called Pressure Cooker. The show is a new competition series where 11 chefs from different backgrounds are placed in a house together and compete for $100,000. For Blackman, who was featured in 7 of the 8 episodes, it was a rewarding experience.
So the process, I would say it was a very long, daunting process, to be honest with you. So they gave me a call and they said, hey, we'd love for you to apply. You know, we love everything that we see via Instagram. So I applied. There was a very long 700 question form that we needed to fill out. Just want to make sure that we're okay in the head, you know. But after a few months, I was selected, had to pack my bags, head over to LA. Yeah, man.
And this experience was a pretty interesting one, a pretty interesting setup. You're living, working, and battling against other chefs. What was that experience like for you?
I would say I was very scared, very nervous at first. I've never had roommates in all of my life. You know, I lived at home and then I had my own apartment. So that was a very different experience for me, especially with people I definitely don't know, all walks of life. I'm very much a clean cut kind of person. And even on the show, you'll see, you know, I'm the first person that's like making my bed, you know, just, you know, based on, you know, you got to make sure that you look good top to bottom on TV overall, you know.
Renee moved to the US when she was young. And while there in her teens, her interest in the culinary arts grew.
So born and raised in Barbados, I left when I was 8 years old. We first arrived in Texas. You know, the typical dream for many is, you know, have the big house. But we had a short stay there. We ended up in New York and, you know, I was so excited about the snow. And, you know, if you've watched Home Alone or Home Alone 2, you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. But, you know, I followed my grandmother around, you know, and living in Barbados, everything's fresh, seasonal, good. And, you know, her and my mother really influenced me. From that, you know, I spent a lot of time with my little brother. You know, my mom was a single mom and he was my guinea pig for everything. So gradually I went into high school and, you know, they had culinary programs happening and kind of just jumped into that, you know, just for fun. And I didn't know I was really taking a strong liking to it. I wanted to go to culinary school, but, you know, true West Indian parent will tell you that is not what we want you to do. You go to school for business, you go to school for journalism, you know, you go to school for everything else. So she kind of crushed those dreams. And then I just continued onward as a regular New Yorker. You know, you go to school, you study business, and I was working at Methodist Hospital and I decided one day I was actually going to just quit because I wasn't happy sitting at the desk. And I went and I worked for Tommy Bahama, which is a restaurant, being a prep cook, learning what I could learn. And I would say the rest is history.
What was the highlight of being on that series?
The highlight of being on that show is challenging myself. You know, I didn't go to culinary school, which so many people are very surprised given the talent and the food that I put out on a day-to-day. Going against these people who work in these restaurants consistently that push out this avant-garde food. It's just, you sometimes feel like there could be a sense of imposter syndrome. Do I deserve to be here? And then I had to get myself together and realize I'm in this coveted spot amongst however many thousands of people who've applied. And I need to make sure I show up.
You didn't make it to the finale. I believe you made it to about episode 7. You had a bit of a mishap in that round. But in this entire process, in this entire experience, what were some of the things you learned?
You know, I'll always learn it's good to think on my feet and it's great to take risk. But seeing that dish fall apart the way that it did, it just made me feel, I was upset, I was angry, I was inferior, I felt inferior. But I realized keeping it cool, calm, collected, no matter what, is extremely important because at the end of the day, there is an image to uphold. And I want to make sure that the same way how I am in a client's home, if me and my chefs are in the back and something happens, that it's never on display for the client. And unfortunately, in that episode, I didn't have a backup plan because we weren't allowed the time to do anything else. If it was up to me, that food would go in the trash can. I can't harp about it. I cried reliving that episode when I watched it on Saturday, because it was like, wow, Renee, really? Did you really do that? Did that really happen? It hurt my soul.
Renee says this is just one chapter of her career, and she has big plans in the future for her business.
Next steps, I would love to, judge a few competition shows, maybe even have my own chef traveling show, something similar to Anthony Bourdain, but make it more fun and, much more elevated, enjoy the cultures with people, but have people show me around where we can kind of include a little bit of fashion, because I love fashion, but include a little bit of fashion, a little bit of the party vibe. If you're going to tell me about a country, tell me about a country. So the name of my business is Chef Renee New York. I also run a catering company called Blue Lemonade Parties. Blue, like blue cheese, right? My favorite color is blue. And the name of my dog, his name is Blue, but his is spelled Bleu. And I love lemonade. My grandmother's lemonade, fresh lime tree in the back, with the brown sugar, and she had a little bit of Angostura in there. So I love my dog and I love lemonade. So Blue Lemonade Parties.
Listening to you talk, I'm getting this sense of nostalgia that you really miss being home. Have any intention on coming back and maybe possibly setting up shop here?
Last time I came home was for the Food and Rum Festival in 2019, October of 2019. Yes.
You plans on coming back soon?
I need to come back today. I don't want any parts of this cold air that's happening up here, but I'd love to come back home in the next 2 months or so. And just hang out, maybe go see some family, probably not at the funeral home, be like, guys, let's just go someplace else,
Well, Renee didn't win the grand prize. She did have plans on how it would be spent if she did.
To say I would win 100 grand. I have an absolute dream to open up a restaurant, 1 in Barbados and 2 in Tulum, but that would help shape the business plan and get everything together to start to get that ball rolling. Everything costs money. You know what I mean?
And she offers advice to aspiring cooks and chefs.
My advice for anyone that's interested in this, know what you want to do. Know that you're going to do it and stick to it. It's not easy. There are long days. Your feet will hurt. Your back will hurt. But you need to be dedicated and you need to know who you are and what you want to show people. If you know you got the best Friday night fish fry and oysters, by all means. But if you know that you can make a nice red snapper with a red pepper curry cream sauce and some couscous or something like that, then you show people that that's what you want to do. Don't stay in one little hole because this is what people eat. I think it's important for, everyone in Barbados that's interested in the culinary industry to, number one, understand, don't just stay in one realm. And when I say that, I mean, everyone that is around you is a guinea pig. Okay. They're your test dummy for what you want to do, but it's all about promoting everyone in-house. I love seeing, chefs like Chef Kelston that's here, he's based in LA, there's Jason Howard, he's fantastic, but I want to see more of the up and up people get promoted. That way we can really know about the true talents that are going on in Barbados versus, bringing in too many of the American-based popular chefs.